Welcome back to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. As always, I want to say thank you for your continued support to our channel. Kindly consider subscribing to the channel if you're watching for the first time. Click the notification bell and like our videos. President William Samoei Ruto has jetted out of the country. He's gone to Rwanda in what we are informed was a courtesy of invitation from his Rwandese counterpart, President Paul Kagame. In a statement, the state spokesperson Hussein Mohammed wrote this: trade and commerce top on the agenda as President Ruto visits Rwanda. It continues to say that President William Ruto will depart the country today for a two-day state visit to the Republic of Rwanda. At the invitation of his host, His Excellency President Paul Kagame, the two heads of state are expected to deliberate on areas of mutual interest and cooperation, including the Northern Corridor integration project, food security, innovation, and ICT, health and education. The visit is further expected to enhance trade and commerce cooperation within the East African community and the African continent, as the two leaders reaffirm their commitment to East African integration and the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, cooperation for trade and economic growth. Regional peace and security will also feature in the discussion that will culminate in the signing of bilateral agreements signed by Hussein Mohammed. It's very normal for a president to jet outside a country and to go for such visits, because even the other day, William Ruto was in Germany to meet several leaders. The reason why this visit is very interesting to me is because it reminds me of the last time William Ruto jetted outside the country, and he left the country in the hands of Rigiji. Many people are asking whether Rigathi Gachagua is the right man to be the deputy president in our country. Why? You see, a deputy president is a president in waiting. Should anything happen to President William Samoei Ruto today, the person who is poised to take over the leadership and the mantle and that sword, the person who is poised to become the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, is none other than Rigathi Gachagua, the former member of Madeira constituency, the former DO in the Nyayo era. But the way he has dealt with Kenyans, the way he deals with the crisis, is really one thing. You know, as a president, you need to exercise a certain level of wisdom, because as a president, you realize that you attract love and hatred on equal measure in your country. Look, for example, the names that William Ruto has been given: Zakayo, God's Jesus' first son. He's given several names, and when you look at the cartoons, the way his images are being portrayed, if you are a person who loses his cool very easily, you can kill each and every person. If you look at all the bloggers, political analysts, you'll realize that they continue to pinpoint weaknesses within the government, weaknesses on the president and the deputy president. Once you are in leadership, you continue to attract attention and you grab headlines. Now, it's very wanting and very, very pathetic that when William Samoei Ruto was away of the country, whether he was part of this choreographed plan, but the person who was in charge was Rigathi Gachagua, that he presided over a meeting with goons planning to invade Azimio demonstrations. A person who is the second in command, a person who swore to uphold the rule of law, a person who has got the mandate to protect Kenyans. He behaves like he's a Kikuyu regional kingpin. He does not want to understand that he earns salary not as a Kikuyu member of parliament, but as the deputy president of Kenya. when he walks outside this country, when he jets out, he flies a flag of Kenya, the Kenyan nation. But the way he behaves, it seems like he has not come to terms of the fact that he is a leader of a country, not a leader of a region. So this is why when William Ruto flies outside the country, it lives and it reminds us of those dark memories. And you remember the speeches that he gave. He was not aware that William Ruto was in some hidden talks with the Azimio fraternity. And he gave a warning, ready to deal with the Azimio fraternity with bullets, because he had said that those who were demonstrating are robbers, and in fact he likened them to people who undertake robbery with violence. And this is why I'm telling you that Ruto's visit, flying out of the country, leaves us with memory, because now you can imagine that the person we have in charge is Rigathi Gachagua. Should there be any crisis, how will Rigathi Gachagua, react? Rigathi believes that this government is for the people who voted for them, because it is a limited company. Those who voted for them, wanavuna, that is what he says. They continue to harvest because they voted for the Kenya Kwanza team. So it's really amazing to see that today the person who is the acting president is Rigathi Gachagua. Number two, we are still in the middle of a crisis, even as Ruto goes out, flies out to Rwanda, because you saw how the country was burning. When a country is burning, your leadership skills is measured, is on a beam balance. It is like in a company where employees continue to go on strike every week. It will reach a point when people will start asking your leadership skills. Because if employees every week or every month continue to go to the street, they say haki yetu, we want our rights, then it means as a manager, as a CEO, there is something wrong with you. So when the country is in a crisis, your leadership skills are measured, and it means you don't have the authority. Why? This is not the first time we are in a crisis. When Kibaki realized that we were in a crisis, he bowed down to pressure. When Uhuru Kenyatta realized that we were in a crisis, he knew very well what it portends to his image, and he was very bright. He went behind the curtains and called for a ceasefire, and it worked for him, even though we can argue that there was no justice, but at least there was peace. And this is why, as William Ruto jets out of the country, people are still asking, because even today we had two contradicting messages. After calling for the ceasefire, requesting Raila Odinga to call off the demonstrations, and Raila responded by suspending those demonstrations, but with a question that they still reserve the right of calling on their supporters to go on the streets. Two very close allies to Raila Odinga and William Samoei Ruto gave very scary statements. Opiyo Wandayi was saying that they must talk about all the issues that Raila Odinga talked about, including the cost of living, server, unilateral appointments, and he says that they will have a meeting before they go to parliament, because they believe that parliament cannot be trusted and they must have a working formula. But Osoro, who is the majority chief whip, made it very categorical that they cannot talk about anything apart from the IEBC. They will not go talk about the servers, they will not talk about appointments and the cost of living. So it means that we are still in a crisis, in a very precarious situation. So even as he flies out, people are still asking what is happening. But if you ask me, Paul Kagame, and another reason why I feel this visit is very important, Paul Kagame is not worshipping the West. He has always said that the West abandoned them in 1994 when Rwanda went to a civil war and over 1 million people died. If you go to Rwanda, there's a museum where we have catapulted heads, skulls, just to remind you that the effect of war is very devastating and you don't need to fight. So in this crisis, William Ruto, you understand that he worships the West, but Kagame is another different kettle altogether. So as he invites William Samoei Ruto, yes, they are going to talk about development projects, but I believe he's going to tell William Ruto that you're about to plunge the country into a crisis. I was there in 1994, and I know how devastating it is. And I believe he's going to tell William Ruto to be very cautious, because where we were headed, we were going to plunge this country into anarchy. Courtesy of those hardline stands from Rigathi Gachagua, Kimani Ichung'wah, they're still spewing venom that there is no talks, but you understand that there are talks. So I think he's going to tell William Ruto how to deal with this crisis, because William Ruto will visit that museum and he will be told, don't try it. I know we tested it in 2007, but this in Rwanda is going to be a wake-up call for William Samoei Ruto. The other thing that is at play is that the ripple effects had reached Rwanda, because we had large trucks of lorries lining up at the border of Uganda and Tanzania. But you see, some of these trucks will always go up to Rwanda. So the economic ripple effects had started hitting up to Rwanda and the whole of Africa. And William Ruto is going to talk about this. They're going to tell William Ruto to ensure that he does not leave the country into the hands he should not leave the country in the hands of people like Rigathi Gachagua. He should exercise leadership. And that is why he's in Rwanda. And I believe from there, William Ruto will understand that the country is bigger than an individual. So ladies and gentlemen, that is why flying out of William Ruto now is very important to me. That is my take.